I'll come back to Jen. Daryl Clay. Daryl's here. We see him on the
Daryl's
screen.
here.
I'm here.
There we go. He's here. Brad. I thought I saw Brad. Oh, Brad's here. I see him. Fernando.
I'm here. Some issues with it.
Edward. He's here.
Here.
John Sanchez. Not here just yet. Laura Slover.
Yes, I'm here.
Celeste.
I'm here.
Nate.
Here.
John Z.
Here.
Jen.
I'm here.
There she is. Who am I missing? Amanda. Okay, I think Amanda will be joining us shortly. We have a quorum, so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Can it be seconded? Did anyone raise their hand? I need a second. Thank you, Celeste.
Second.
All in favor, you can just raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. I want to make some changes to the agenda. I'm going to come back to the committee reports until I see John Sanchez is joining us. Fernando, let's mark John is here. I'm going to make some changes to the agenda and come back to the committee reports until after Daryl's son performs at his recital. So we'll do that. And let's start with we'll start with the ED report and then move to the strategic presentation, the strategic plan presentation, if that's fine. So unless there are any objections, we'll go ahead and do that. Seeing no objections, let's go ahead and move to the ED report.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We have a short ED report tonight because the focus is on, hold on, I've got to get the right thing in the right place. The focus is on the strategic plan this evening. That I will go over a few things very quickly. So again, I'm not including strategic plan progress in here until it's complete, but we should have that at the next meeting. We'll talk a little bit about academics, a little bit about operations, and a little bit about raising our profile. And then of course, tonight, the focus is on strategic plan. So the summary is that we have 4 leaders at LAM who are leaving at the end of the year. Some of that information and announcements came fairly recently. And so admin has been working hard to create to get ready for next year, given all of those changes, getting ready not just for the school year, but even the preschool year, planning this summer academics. It's made some changes to the budget, etc. And that's what we've been largely involved in over the last month. Academics, Park is nearly complete. It has gone very smoothly. MAP testing is up next. We're ready to go on that. And we're excited to see that our attendance rates are slowly climbing. 95% is our goal. We are approaching 93%. That includes our primary students who are not required to attend at the same level that K-12 are. So upper elementary is above 90% and yeah, so we're getting very close. Operation highlights, enrollment Saturday was a big success. We are getting ready for the move from South Dakota. The last traffic study is complete. They are assembling the report. We have given them all of the extra information that they need to put that report together. We will be submitting that to the BZA in the next week or so. And then we should be hearing back from that. That time does start a comment period for the BZA and neighbors, and we will be notifying the Lamb Community Committee for that. Packing and moving plans are being finalized. We do plan to have a Saturday where all staff are invited to come help pack up so that many hands make light work. With the budget process, we have put both the turf field and the kitchen completion on hold at the moment and put a hold on the food program for this next year, just as we are managing all of the different pieces. I've been continuing to do work with the Charter Alliance and LEA leaders on equitable funding issue regarding the WTU contract. And we have an idea of how much we will receive.
Really nice guy.
How we will receive that and how it gets applied is still being finalized before the budget vote by the city council. Also been working hard with the Alliance and other charter leaders on the revised accountability framework. This is what gives us our tier rating. It's been a sticky process, and there's a lot of questions still, and there's actually a board meeting tonight of PCSB to work on that. I served on an OSSI panel to discuss approaches to park participation and success, as Lamb typically has 100% participation. And this one is just for El Shaddai. Lamb was recognized. I do have a certificate. It's digital at the moment, but we may print it out and post it, recognizing us for our high immunization rates, which actually was that was a big deal with schools in OSSI this year. So we are excited to have that. And that is it for the ED report.
Thank you. You guys have any questions for Karis on her report?
No, thank you, Karis.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Karis, I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing over the last couple of weeks. One of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the year, especially coming back from COVID, was the immunizations. We had a lot of conversations about making sure that we were on point with that. So I was happy to see that OSSI recognized Lamb for its high immunization rate. Having worked on this issue at the council, I recognize how big of a challenge that is for a number of our charter partners, but also in DCPS in general. So good job on that piece. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the strategic plan. That's going to be the bulk of our discussion tonight. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Alan and Lisa.
Thank you. Lisa, are you able to share the sort of short little presentation on the changes we made?
Certainly, it's actually within the plan. Hold on one second.
Just to sort of update people on the process, right? So we presented the full plan last week, so obviously last month. We then opened up a period for comments. We received a few comments, and just massive thank yous to parents who sent comments, and staff as well. We also got a couple of comments from staff. What we did was we then the simple ones, which is like a couple of language things, we just kind of made those changes. When a lot of those, but there was sort of, and then there's a number of comments around implementation, right? And so we're not handling that. So that's something that, you know, as we hand over this work, we've captured. What we have also done is we've captured every single comment verbatim, right? So we've given you a separate compendium of all of that. So it's not been lost. And, you know, we did it sort of say to the parents who sent stuff in and staff, we would pass everything on. There were sort of two big changes that we made. And, you know, one was there was a big debate. The last one came out in some of the comments that people made, which is in the mission statement. There's we refer to the new mission statement talks about moving to a bilingual community or establishing bilingual. I know, can you just go up, Lisa, to the mission? Sorry, yeah, it's to be a bilingual Montessori community, and there was a debate whether that should be biliterate. We took a lot of the comments that people made. We then did a little bit of homework. One was a concern was like alignment between LAM's mission, would that diverge from the sort of overall arc towards DCI. DCI don't use biliterate or multiliterate, they use multilingual. And what they do is in the kind of descriptions of like how they achieve it, they talk about multiliteracy, right? So that's on the DCI side. And then one of the other things, recognizing the sort of the debate, what we found is that, so went back to like in many ways like first principle, bilingual doesn't translate well from Spanish, right? And biliterate doesn't well from Spanish, that is well understood in Spanish that it means to read and write as well. So we kept bilingual in the mission, and what we've done is that in all the goals, we've been very explicit about using biliterate there. So where it was bilingual, biliterate, and even in those, we've actually, where appropriate, we've actually written that out to say to read and write in Spanish. So there's no confusion of what the goal is. The sort of overall, the mission is it will be bilingual. This creates a parallel with the name. So Latin American Montessori Bilingual School. So you got bilingual Montessori community with the Latin culture. So those three elements remain consistent with the names. You don't have this kind of disconnect, which we had in the old version. And as I said, this one translates much better from Spanish to English. This wasn't sort of when I say we, we have a committee that works on this. So the cross-cutting committee, which includes staff, board members, myself and Lisa, and this is sort of the proposal we've got. And so if you go, Lisa, you can just go down to the changes. There's sort of two big changes. So that's the big one. It's bilingual, biliterate, how we've got to handle that. So, and then the other one was in DEI, which was, we felt that it was a suggestion that we include staff more explicitly. So instead of it reading just the community or students and families, or we included, we added staff to the goal and to the rationale. So, and that is it. As I said, a lot of the other suggestions, a lot of the parents' comments were around implementation, right? And so, as the board and the school had developed the implementation plan, those comments are there. There is one. There was one comment revolving around DEI language, like in the documents. One of the community members of the attorney said, "Listen, your language is great." That actually wasn't part of the strategic plan. It was an annex around the old DEI plan, and so that's something for the school to pick up as a separate piece to kind of look at. And then there was another comment made just about the way we use the words Title I in referring to certain communities and whether that is consistent with the way OSCE actually talks about it. And so the parent who works in OSCE sort of gave some suggestions. Again, we didn't make those changes. I think that's stuff that I think which should be followed up with the school to kind of solve for those kind of finer points. As it stands, the rest of the document is sort of unchanged, and a lot of the comments we received were very positive. People were very happy with the fact that they got to see it all. Very, happy with the direction. Some wanted to be more ambitious. Someone thought it was too ambitious. So I think probably landed in the right spot there. And so with that, we've also sent a clean version for the board to vote on. So you have a proposal now to adopt the strategic plan. Lisa, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you got it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I see John Z has his hand raised for a question. So, John?
Yeah, so I had a question. Actually, I added a question and I don't know where it went. But my question was, and you touched on it a little bit, Alan, but at the last board meeting, we had a pretty robust discussion about the mission statement and specifically on the difference between bilingual and biliteracy. And I thought there was a consensus where actually a board member made a suggestion in the board meeting to make an adjustment, yet somehow I'm still trying to sort out what happened between then and now, because this is the first update back based on the last larger setting for the change.
So what happened is that we took the suggestion, like all the other suggestions, and reviewed it as a group. And the change we made was this kind of compromise, which was bilingual stayed in the mission, but we changed all the other language to biliterate. And the reason for that was that due to two reasons. One was this kind of parallel nature of trying to keep the name consistent with the language. And the second was the fact that when we consulted our Spanish-speaking staff and Spanish-speaking teachers, who were also part of the group that we work with, they said this doesn't translate very well. And we've also had board members, we also had Spanish-speaking board members say the same thing. So we try to kind of keep this thing as broad as possible, and thought we'd sort of found a compromise that worked. In the sense that it still captures what people want, which is the idea of biliteracy as a goal and achievement, and doesn't compromise. I know you raised the issue around DCI, so it doesn't compromise that thing. We went to sort of sanity check against that and how they handle it as well. So that's where we landed up. So the suggestion was there. We reviewed it. We sort of put it through the sort of the debate, and this is where we ended up.
Yeah, if I can add with that, I spent a lot of time at the school the last 3 weeks talking to staff members. And I've heard from a number of parents, and the common theme is that we want to support our teachers and show that they're valued and that we value their feedback. And when talking about the strategic plan with a number of the staff members, the biliterate versus bilingual piece came up a lot. And so I'm glad you guys found the compromise that addresses the concern that a number of those staff members had raised when it came to the bilingual versus biliterate piece. Alan, you and I talked about this earlier, and so I was prepared to speak more in favor of going with bilingual as opposed to biliterate. So I'm satisfied with this compromise. Jen.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, because a few of the people that raised it on our call to change to biliterate was staff, Spanish-speaking staff, and so I guess I wanted to just make sure that was kind of the consensus among Spanish-speaking staff, that it stays bilingual and not move to biliterate, because I would like to kind of, let them lead on this.
Well, one of the things that I'll speak, I don't mean to put Marie Jose on the spot here, but one of the things that shifted my mindset on it was some of the comments that she's made about it. So if Marie Jose, if you want to talk about the bilingual versus biliterate and why you were in favor of bilingual.
Sure, and my comments, as I have made before, are just my experience as someone from Latin America and in conversations with Alex and other folks from school. So they are not professional comments on this. I have talked about this with teachers, with admin, with some folks. And for us in Latin America, we talk about bilingual, and that is like explicit, that I mean that I can read, write, speak in that language. By literacy, the translation in Spanish, it's used to talk about more in the sense of teaching someone how to read and write. So we use it more in the context when it's to small children, to teach them how to read and write in their native language, or to adults who didn't learn to do that when they were little. So for us, that's something that I talked to people from Colombia, from Ecuador, from Peru, from other South American countries. We felt that that's just, it would be weird for us to read somewhere by literacy in the definition for the school. Again, that's wasn't that I asked every single employee at LAM, but the ones that I consulted, because I trust their views on this, shared a similar view as I did.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts on the strategic plan? This has been kind of almost a 4-year process that we've been going through. So any thoughts on the overarching plan? I know we spent a lot of time today talking about, or we spent the time today going over the changes between biliteracy and bilingual, and then talking a little about the implementation, but any overarching thoughts on the strategic?
Just thank you to this whole team and to Alan and Lisa. That's a lot of work, and it has taken us a while, but I think we have a really nice final product.
Yeah, before I call on a vote on it, and I'm still trying to stall for Daryl's son's piano recital. I do want to thank Alan and Lisa, the entire Compass team. Like, that's kind of how we were blessed with Fernando on the board through this process. Lisa has done a great job of nudging us along and making sure that we were on track. But personally, I want to thank Alan. He started this process as the chair of the board, and part of the deal when we chatted about me taking over as chair was that he would stay on and finish the strategic plan. So I really want to thank him for continuing that work and landing this plane. I've talked to a number of staff members and parents and education funders over the last couple of weeks about the strategic plan, and one of the things that has been consistent that I shared with them is about the board being really excited about this strategic plan, but the hard work that we've taken and being really thoughtful about assessing where LAM is and where we wanted to go. So I want to thank you all for your hard work on that.
I mean, let me just sort of add my voice to Lisa, right? I mean, we don't get to this point without her work. So she's been amazing. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
And Karis, who was really driving this at the beginning, especially, and then, throughout, kind of pushing us on this and, holding us accountable to get it done. So thank you, Karis, for all your hard work too.
Thanks.
2 years of Friday morning meetings. So,
so with that, or Karis, you wanted to add something?
Nope. Just thanks to all of you for sticking through it. This is a fantastic strategic plan, and I'm very excited for LAM as they move forward with it.
With that, can I get a motion to accept the strategic plan as presented before the board?
I'll move to adopt the strategic plan.
There a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Seeing none, it is adopted unanimously.
Woohoo!
I think that and then now I get free dinner at your house, Laura. I believe. I think it's the deal.
Oh, that's right. I did promise that. Yes. Congratulations, Alan. We will be having dinner.
Marie Jose, you had your hand up? No? Okay. All right. With that, we'll go to the, are we striking the strategic or the staffing overview, Karis?
Yes, we're striking the staffing overview until closed session
Next.
because there's too many bits of important information in there that are not yet ready to be public.
Okay. I see Amanda is in the attendees list. Can you bump her up? There, I think today is Amanda's son's birthday. So she's doing triple duty. We'll add her in a second. In the meantime, let's go ahead and go on to the committee reports. We'll start with the governance committee, and I think it's Jen and Fernando. Did we lose Fernando? Oh, there he is. Okay.
No, I'm here. So there's not that much to report. The only thing that we are going to work today in terms of nomination of board member, which is actually we voted yes on nominating her again, and so we will vote on that. And also we have two board members on the pipeline that we are planning. We're planning to interview with Jen as soon as possible in the next few days. Other than that, I think that's essentially what we have. Is mostly about nominating people and also getting new board members and to join the group. So I don't know, Jen, if you have something else to add to this.
No, Fernando and I are trying to pull the governance committee together after Alan's departure. And so if anyone else wants to be on it, we need to figure out who else is going to be on it. But yeah, we are going to next. Do you want to do that now during committee reports to do the vote for the extending the next term for El Shaddai, or do you want to do that later?
Yeah, we can do that now.
So I can move to for El Shaddai to have an additional 3-year term. Is there a second? Laura,
Second.
everyone seconded.
And seconded by Laura.
Second. Third.
All in favor? You can just raise your hand. If you're off video, can you say aye?
Aye. Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Seeing none, it is unanimous. El Shaddai, congratulations on another term.
Thank you, Shaddai.
I will say congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's do the operations committee next. So we'll go on to the operation committee.
Operations committee did not meet this past week. Maria Jose did provide a summary operations dashboard in addition to the information provided in the executive director report. It is also a good time to recognize some new partnerships that the school has made in regards to the DC Food Project and Tickets for Kids charities. And so this is DC Food Project is a nonprofit organization providing students access to nutritious food. Land will receive and distribute items on a monthly basis to our Tier 1 and reduced lunch family, free of charge. And Family Student Services will use this monthly touch point as an opportunity to further connect and support these families. The Tickets for Kids charities provides free access for low-income and at-risk kids to attend arts, cultural, educational, and athletic venues of their community. Lamb will receive and distribute tickets for our Tier 1 and reduced lunch family. Maria Jose, did you want to add any further highlights of operations?
I would just say things are going well. We're preparing already for the end of the school year and planning for the next. Some big events coming up, graduations, the PTO switch a picnic with some other activities, all types of fun activities coming up. We did conduct the base lottery. As suggested by the board, we did it openly. Some families did show up to watch that. Everybody has been notified of the spot. We continue to look to hire for that program. We're pretty happy with where we are right now. I think hiring is going well. We do have a lot of positions to hire for, but things seem to indicate that we are going to reach our target.
Any questions for Maria Jose and Brad?
I have one, please. Maria Jose, do
Yeah.
you think if we reach the hiring target, does that mean that most kids would come off the wait list, or how are we thinking about where we set that target?
No, we discussed that at committee. So what we offer families is that we're going to open at least the same number of spots that we had this year. That was 284, if I'm not incorrect. And over that, our target is to open 3 more groups. Once we open those 3 more groups, we'll have to reassess and see the situation. We do not have the capacity to offer a seat for every single child that wants us. That changes the structure of our program, and it will be a big change for us if that's the direction we want to go. There's conversations we should have really soon before the final budget gets approved, but that's not the plan at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to meddle. I was just trying to understand, to level set what it would mean to hit our target.
So we're already open 1 group. So we added 25 more people, and we're looking to add 50 more students.
Hey,
0 or 1-5. Sorry, just
to add 50 more, 50.
thank you. That's great.
One of the things that I've got a question, and you can talk about this in terms of the HR piece for base. I've been talking with a number of the other schools and even some of my DCPS colleagues around the challenges that they're having with aftercare. And I've seen this across the country. Can you talk about any of the steps that you guys are taking to really address the talent pipeline in terms of finding people to work in these roles? I know that's a huge challenge in other places across the city. I'm curious as to what steps you guys are taking.
Sure, we are doing actually a lot. I'll find the recording to our charla where we went one by one through all our strategies, but I'll tell you some of them. One of our biggest strategies right now is to focus on high school students and university students, right? For paid positions, we're competing with every other school that wants these types of folks. We're competing, we are all offering very competitive salaries for these, but these are hard positions to fill because they are part-time. Everybody prefers a full-time position, right? So while we're still targeting those, full-time, those part-time employees, we think perhaps where we could get more folks right now is in high school volunteers, and in college interns. So we are working with the University of Maryland, with Howard University, to try to increase the number of interns that they send to us. We actually are offering paid internships, right? And part of what we're offering these individuals, particularly ideally folks that are interested in education, is to come learn of us, Montessori, bilingualism, and perhaps then stay and eventually become teachers with us, right? These are very, like what they told us, very, they could become very sought after internships because they are paid. Many of the internships available out there are not necessarily paid internships like what we offer. For high school, what we are looking for is to partner with organizations that target very, very high achieving immigrant high school students to help them go to college and achieve even more. So we're partnering with organizations, one for example called Liberty Promise. They find the students, they recruit them, they offer them a training, coaching, they have weekly classes through their program, and they come volunteer at our program. I can't remember exactly what's the timeline, but it's 2 or 3 months, right? So some of these organizations have a fee for us, some of them have no fee. So we are in partnership with 2, so we expect to have at least some volunteers from the next school year. For high schoolers, these are not full-time positions, they only are available 4 days or 3 days a week, depending on the organization, but still that helps with coverage and with other issues that we may have. We have explored a lot more things. I invite everyone, I'll share the link to the charla where we cover this. The last thing we look into beyond even recruitment, some parents approach us with the idea, why don't you do a parent co-op, right? So parents sign up to take care of kids, we'll take care of each other's kids, you just give us the space. We did look into that. Our insurance said, no, we do not want that. We will not move forward with that. So great idea, but it's not something we're able to do. So I also invite everyone that has ideas, please share them, send them our way. Every idea we receive, we seriously consider it, and we get back to the person that offered it to tell them, this is, we're moving forward, or this is why this is not going to work out.
Yeah, I wonder if for those families who are offering that, like, what if there are families who or parents who have like the time, if they should apply to be a base employee. Like right now, when I remember this when I was during school, so like you have a certain amount of kids that you want to service, but if you don't have the staff in order to do that, then like, there's no magic bullet, and you can't wait. You can't just have kids without the staff hired in order to support that work. So I would hope that parents who have the time that they could apply to be one of the workers at base, and maybe that'll help address some of the HR issues that we're having. Jen?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Maria Jose and the team for all the work trying to get everything staffed up, and I'm glad it's going more smoothly. I do want us to continually talk about what the goal is. I always thought the goal was to be back to where we were right before this last year, which was anyone that wanted a seat could have it. And I hope we can get back to having that as a goal, even if we can't meet that goal because it's impossible and everyone's doing the best they can. I'm hoping we have that goal back in place eventually.
Any other comments on that? Thoughts?
Just that I agree with Jen, as usual.
Same. It seems like this is a increasingly articulated concern, and one that parents have like a big reliance upon. So to the extent, I like the articulation of that, Jen, that even if we're still striving towards the goal, that is ultimately what we're aiming for.
Yeah, I just want to say it's not like we say we want to have a wait list for base. It is that it's where we're putting our resources and our time at any given moment. Taylor is often hiring all the way through the year. And so a good portion of her time is spent interviewing, onboarding, and then working to make sure that the spots that are open, because we do have staff leave throughout the year from base more often than we do in other positions in the school. So making sure that we are spending our time balanced between setting up a great program and conducting a great program. We're always aiming to make sure that our program does try to meet the needs of our parents, but we also, this last year and last summer in particular, hit us really hard unexpectedly in terms of the employment situation in the city. So.
Let's go on to Finance Committee. Daryl.
Hey, everyone. Akeem, thanks for working around my schedule. I appreciate that. So this will be a quick update. Just a few budget process updates. We're not going to jump into the numbers today, but as everyone is aware or should be aware by now, we were originally scheduled to vote on the final budget today. That's not going to happen. We're going to have that vote at our June 12th meeting. And so in terms of next steps, if the budget gets approved on June 12th, then Brian will go ahead and submit that to PCSB. In the event that it doesn't get approved, we will have to schedule an emergency board meeting for the sole purpose of voting on the budget. Just a reminder to everyone, July 5th is the PCSB's deadline for schools submitting their budgets. So yeah, just keep that in mind. We were really trying to avoid all of this. Brad and John will remember, and Karis and Maria Jose, months ago, I said, I'm a little nervous about this timeline. And I won't say who said this, but someone was like, oh no, this year's budget is going to be non-controversial. So, and the
I
rest
think
is
that
history.
was me.
No, it was not you. Yeah, thanks for owning that. Thanks for taking one for the team, Akeem, but it was not you. So as everyone is aware, this has been a rather interesting budget cycle, but we'll get through it. And so I appreciate everyone hanging in there, and hopefully there won't be any issues around summer vacation scheduling. I'm really hoping that this thing, no pressure to anyone, but I'm really hoping that it passes on June 12th, so we don't have to schedule an emergency meeting. That's all I have.
The one thing I'll add to that, I want to thank the Finance Committee for their diligence on this, and Daryl in particular, working through this. The phone calls we've had, the texts back and forth, really appreciate you keeping me in the loop on this. What I am hoping is that, and this is why we have the committee structure, I am hoping that we can address all the concerns and really present a budget to the full board that has been worked through on the Finance Committee. And that is the point of the committee structure, to work through all of these at the committee level. So when the full budget is submitted to all of us, it's gone through a rigorous process at the committee level, and one that the folks on the committee can really stand behind. So that's why we have this timeline. That's why we build in the cushion that we have there. I know we'll talk a bit more about some of the staffing overview that'll feed into the budget when we get into closed session. But are there any general questions here about the process?
Oh, one thing I did leave out is I'll make sure that the full board gets a copy of the final budget at least a week before that June 12th meeting. So it won't be a situation where you're like getting it the weekend before or like the day before. So you should have plenty of time to take a look at it, and definitely reach out to the Finance Committee if you have specific questions in between that probably June 5th and June 12th time period.
Any other question, or Laura, you came up?
I'm trying to formulate the question. First of all, thank you. Other people's questions have been really informative for me, and I'm really grateful to them for asking those. It's made things much more clear to me, when you've got that wondering, but you can't quite figure out what it is. So thank you for those questions. I think I don't have any other questions right now other than a process question. I heard Akeem say the committee's going to work on this, and the purpose of the committee structure is to take the weight off of every board member to do everything, which I appreciate. I heard Daryl say there'll be one more opportunity review. What do we do if we have another question? Go to Daryl?
Yes, that's fine. Or you can send an email to the entire Finance Committee. My preference, frankly, is let's try to avoid sending budget questions to the entire board, because then you get a bunch of traffic going back and forth.
That's
so
fine.
yeah. So thank you, Laura, for mentioning that.
That's sort
If
of
you
where
could
I was
send
going. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you
I
could-
like
if
all
you
the
could send
answers,
it-
but
Yeah.
I know that, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So just going forward, if you could just send it to the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
That would be helpful.
Appreciate it. And thanks for all the work you're doing.
And thank you for that process question, Laura. Just in that. If we're sending
Yes, of course, they
Oh,
all
sure.
start talking right when you want to talk.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. We like children in the background.
Or go ahead, El Shaddai.
You guys couldn't hear me before, yeah.
No, I think it was breaking up a bit.
Okay, just to avoid duplication, like if I have a question, Laura has the same question, like to avoid that, like I'm just trying to figure out, because one response to one person will probably answer somebody else's question. How can we share information?
Yeah, that's a good question, El Shaddai. I appreciate it. What I will say is you've been the only person, so this is no shade to any other board member, but you've been the only person asking questions. So I would prefer the duplication. That way we can just send out a response saying, okay, a couple of folks, however many people have had the same question to the Finance Committee, and this is our response versus.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But keep those questions coming. We appreciate it.
The easy thing about duplication is once it's been answered for one person, you can just copy and paste the answer if the same question pops up again. Any other questions for Daryl? All right. Again, thank you so much, Daryl, for taking the lead on this. I really do appreciate it. We'll go on to the School Performance Committee with Laura and Alex Torres.
Okay, thanks everyone. We had a meeting last week with our committee, and that, just as a reminder, includes El Shaddai and Nathan and Akeem joined us. And we met with Karis and Maria Jose and Alex Torres, who will be acting as interim principal. We're thrilled. So we had a good touch base conversation about how to end the year strong. Park testing is just wrapped up, I think, and final end of year map testing will take place. In any case, all the data is being collected, and Alex and Maria Jose shared that we'll have a new and improved data dashboard. So we don't have that to share now, but we will going into the next year. So that's good. We're on track for that. Graduation, you already mentioned. We are going to be, we had a good discussion about staffing, and we're about 90 to 95% of the way through our staffing. I'm seeing nodding good. So I'm not going to go deep diving into which positions, but overall the staff feels quite good about where we are on staffing, particularly compared to last year. So that's great to hear. And over the summer, we'll be transitioning on time, on schedule, the final set from South Dakota. There's a job for the board to do, which is to congratulate and support the team that is doing the final move out. More on that later, but I'm expecting some of you to show up with coffee and donuts to show appreciation for the team that's doing that final work. I think that's it. El Shaddai, Nathan wasn't able to join. El Shaddai, do you have anything else that I've forgotten?
I don't think so.
Alex, do you want to add anything?
No, you got everything. Thank you, Laura.
Well, I will end by saying we're thrilled that Alex is stepping into this role. And I want to say to the whole board how classy Kara Sharp is and how amazing she has been in terms of really committing to finishing out this year strong in an environment that may not feel great all the time. And just my huge appreciation to her for everything, number one, but particularly in regards to this meeting, like just getting in there and helping figure out everything. So thank you and appreciations.
Thank you, Laura. I just wanted to add how impressed I have been with Alex, who has stepped in as interim principal much sooner than she thought she was going to, and is just knocking it out of the park in terms of getting it ready for next year and working with Maria Jose and with me to make sure that we all do finish strong this year.
Any questions for Laura, Maria Jose, Alex, and Karis? All right, I also want to thank Alex Torres for stepping into this role. When we chatted about this, I talked about how much the staff admires and looks up to you, and it has been evident from the moment we made the announcement. They even gave a round of applause when we made that announcement, and so that's a true testament to how much people admire you and support the work that you're doing. So I want to thank you for that. With that, we are right on time. So Karis, any final thoughts before we close and move on to the closed session? All right, can I get a motion to move into closed session to discuss trade secrets and financial and commercial information?
Moved.
Laura
Seconded.
moved. Is there a second? Or Amanda second? Without objection. Seeing none. All right, we'll move on to the closed session. Thank you, the parents who decided to join in on this. And we will continue to give out, I want to say this before we move into closing, because I've gotten a number of emails about the transition. As a board, we're going to talk about this in our executive session. And I'm hoping we can have a much larger community announcement in the next couple of weeks. But I do want to say this. I think the board has had serious conversations about the transition, and we've got a plan in place. We've been really grateful to work with Karis and Marie Jose and Alex in terms of finishing this year. We've had some in-person conversations about what we are hoping to accomplish and close out, and how we're thinking about passing the baton on into the next year. I'm really excited about the possibilities and the movement that LAM is in, especially in light of the strategic plan that we just voted on. What's mostly needed at this moment from parents is supporting our staff members, teachers and staff, as they navigate and think about this transition. And the best way that we can do that is to show our appreciation for them showing up every day, is to support, like show up and help with the move from South Dakota to the campus, but also to really be mindful about how we are talking to them and about this transition. One of the things that's really disappointing from my experience, it's like spending so much time with the staff that I have over the last 3 weeks, is the amount of anxiety that they've expressed that they're feeling from me. And so when I shared the transition and the plan to them, the temperature was lowered a bit. But what I don't want is for people who, best of intentions, I firmly believe that everyone has the right intentions, but we have to be mindful of how our actions and our words are received on the other end. And I think the thing that I've learned throughout this entire, 4 months of being board chair now, is that while we all have the best of intentions, sometimes our intentions and intent don't have the impact that may come from that. So I just want us all to be mindful and thoughtful around that. And I think that's the best thing that we can do in order to help get through this. School leaders transitions are normal. They happen every year for a number of different schools. And this transition, what I do want to say, I want to thank Karis in particular for this. We are making this as normal as possible. And so in terms of more information around what the next year looks like in terms of a leadership model, parents and the rest of the school can expect us having that in the next couple of weeks or so. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the closed session.
Hey, Akeem, could I
Amanda,
sneak
you wanna-
something in here just at the
Yeah,
end?
go ahead.
Would that be okay? I just, on behalf of sort of the board, everyone in the community who's invested in LAM, I wanted to thank you. I don't know that the entire board always gets to see, and I suspect the parent and the teacher communities don't always get to see how fortunate we are to have you in this role at this moment. The connections and resources you have in education and around DC, and how quickly you've been able to pivot those and mobilize them to help in our search and in, LAM's thinking about its future has been extraordinary to me. And I just right guy in the moment in the right place. I'm exceedingly grateful. And I'm sure as we are able to share more and more with the broader community about, what the plans are and what that looks like, folks will also be really excited about what the possibilities are, and deeply appreciative of not just all the work you're doing, but all the expertise and relationships that you bring. So I hope I didn't embarrass you too much there, but I am very grateful. I have a front row seat for it, and it is really cool.
Well, thank you. I am not good with that type of public gratitude, but thank you. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the closed session.